Self-betterment is the gateway to a much happier and fulfilling life. We tend to get comfortable with our sadness, so much so that we become hesitant to change regardless of how unbearable the sadness may be. We owe it to our own selves to be the best possible versions of ourselves. So here are 5 tips that have personally helped me become a much happier person. Accept fate for what it is. Whether you perceive it as positive or negative, have a resolute acceptance of situations you find yourself in, even if it's the exact opposite of what you proposed, because that in itself still presents opportunities. Your duty as an individual is to identify matters that are in your hands from externals beyond your control. For example, if you miss your flight, no amount of yelling is going to bring it back. No amount of wishing will make you taller or shorter. And no matter how hard you try, you cannot force someone to love you the way you want to be loved. Not everything is within your grasp. You cannot change everything. Understanding what you can and cannot change is the first step to accepting fate. Focus on the parts that are modifiable and under your direct control. You will not only be happier, but you will have a distinct advantage over other people who fail to realize that they are fighting an unwinnable battle. Always be honest with yourself. Always tell yourself the truth no matter what. Our tendency to be dishonest with ourselves is an obstacle to a flourishing life. We lie to ourselves for a seemingly understandable reason, to avoid pain, but in doing so, we hinder our chances of happiness. We lie to avoid dealing with problematic aspects of ourselves that would take a grueling amount of effort to fix. We lie to hide the fact that we may have thoughts that would be considered abnormal or deviant by most. We lie so we don't feel inadequate with ourselves because we lack so many things we wish we had. We lie because we don't want to deal with feelings, emotions, or trauma that we may have experienced in the past. We lie because we don't want to be held accountable for our shortcomings. We lie because we are afraid of the inner confrontations with our true self. So why is lying to ourselves a problem? Lying is harmful because we pay a very high price in our mental freedom and happiness. These lies drain us so quickly. We distract ourselves with harmful vices that push us further away from our true selves and eventually push us deeper into depression. So let's be honest to ourselves. We owe it to ourselves to have these unpleasant inner confrontations because the truth will definitely set you free. Define your goals and actually do them. Everyone has hopes and dreams, things they wish to accomplish both in the short term and long term. However, for some of us, these are just vague ideas that we are not committed to wholeheartedly. We are often very open to the idea of abandoning them if the path towards achieving these goals begin to appear much more difficult than initially anticipated. These undefined goals lack the proper motivational framework required to actually pursue them. There is no commitment to these goals, and in turn, the motivational drive to complete them is absent. Defining your goals is an important first step. You need to put some time, effort, and a lot of thought into it. Think about the destination and where you want to see yourself within a defined time frame. Think about how attainable or realistic your goals are. Write down a plan and list what you require to meet these goals. Whether it's learning a new skill or a new language, you need to have it all written down somewhere. Everything needs to be written down. The incentive for goals is a sense of being actively engaged with something worthwhile. They provide a positive framework of emotions that give you the drive and fulfillment you require in life. It will not be easy. It requires a lot of sacrifice, but once you achieve your goals, it will be worth everything. Establish a relationship with a transcendent value. As humans, we have a primordial disposition to crave a heightened state of spirituality provided by transcendent ethical structures. This is evident from the proclivity of different societies to create deities of worship for over thousands of years. These ethical or religious structures provide a transcendent value that never run out of motivational power and give us the fulfillment we so much crave. Without those transcendent values, we are left empty, lost, and feel a sense of dread that progresses into deep depression. That is why it is important to have a strong relationship with these values that give us a transcendent meaning to life and enable us to live a virtuous and happy life. Avoid falling into the pits of escapism. We have a tendency to seek distractions and temporary relief from unpleasant realities by engaging in systems that are designed to keep us disconnected from our individual responsibilities. Life is essentially filled with suffering and unpleasant moments. That is why we are constantly being sold the idea, especially in our 20s and 30s, that the only way to feel alive is by indulging in an obscene amount of escapist activities. We aren't allowed to be bored because there's a constant influx of entertainment to keep us distracted. Parties, drinking, video games, drugs, social media, binge watching 5 seasons of TV shows that you have already seen before on Netflix. Every time we disconnect and retreat back into the comfortability of our escapist activities, we push away opportunities to grow and improve ourselves. We are not dealing with the things that plague our mind. We are just pushing them back and letting them pile up until they become unbearable. We don't focus on ourselves, but rather we are taking a back seat while all these activities rule our lives. The tragedy is that we do not so much enjoy these elements in and of themselves. We like them for their ability to keep us away from what we fear. Now, I am in no way saying you aren't allowed to have fun once in a while. I'm just saying things should be done in moderation. Allow yourself to get bored and get the gratification from doing things that add meaning to your life. Self-betterment is a lifelong endeavor. It is easy to conceptualize, but hard to implement. There will be moments where you fail, moments where you lose focus and give in to your temptations, but you always have to refocus and align yourself to this path that you have chosen, because there is truly freedom in discipline.
The perils of self-betterment.